Hi, welcome to the Success Seeds. No More Mr. Nice Guy is a self-help book written by Dr. Robert A. Glover that offers guidance to men struggling with the nice guy syndrome. This syndrome is characterized by behaviors and beliefs designed to please others, avoid conflict, and seek approval. While this may seem like a desirable trait, it often leads to feelings of frustration, resentment, and dissatisfaction. The book provides insights and practical tips to help men break free from these patterns of behavior and live a fulfilling life. In this book, we will discuss the key lessons from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy. Lesson 1. Recognize the nice guy syndrome. The first lesson from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy is to recognize the nice guy syndrome. According to Dr. Robert Glover, the nice guy syndrome is a set of behavioral and emotional patterns that are developed by men who seek to gain approval, avoid conflict, and put others' needs before their own. This leads to feelings of frustration, resentment, and a lack of fulfillment. Men who exhibit the nice guy syndrome tend to believe that being a nice guy is the best way to succeed in life and gain the approval of others. They may engage in people-pleasing behaviors, such as always saying yes to others, avoiding confrontation, and seeking validation from others. While these behaviors may seem like good intentions, they often come at the cost of the individual's own needs and desires. Recognizing the nice guy syndrome is an essential first step to overcoming it. It requires acknowledging that there is a problem and being willing to explore the root causes of these behaviors. By recognizing this pattern, men can begin to identify the ways in which their behavior is holding them back and begin to take steps towards change. It's important to note that the nice guy syndrome is not just limited to men, and it can also affect women. However, Dr. Glover's book focuses on helping men to recognize and overcome these patterns of behavior. Lesson 2. Understand the causes of the nice guy syndrome. The second lesson from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy is to understand the causes of the nice guy syndrome. Dr. Glover suggests that the nice guy syndrome often develops as a result of growing up in a dysfunctional family or society. Men who exhibit this behavior may have experienced neglect, abuse, or emotional abandonment in childhood, which has led them to develop a fear of rejection, abandonment, or conflict. As a result, these men learn to suppress their own feelings, needs, and desires in order to avoid upsetting others or being rejected. They may develop a belief that expressing their true selves will lead to rejection, so they put on a facade of being agreeable and accommodating to others. This leads to a pattern of behavior in which they prioritize the needs and wants of others over their own, often to the point of neglecting their own well-being. It's important to note that the causes of the nice guy syndrome can be complex and multifaceted, and may differ from person to person. Some individuals may develop this behavior due to cultural or societal pressures, while others may have experienced trauma or abuse in their childhood. Regardless of the root cause, understanding the factors that contribute to the development of the nice guy syndrome can be an important step in overcoming it. By understanding the causes of the nice guy syndrome, men can begin to recognize that their behavior is not a personal failing but rather a learned coping mechanism. This realization can help them to develop self-compassion and begin to address the underlying issues that have contributed to their behavior. Lesson 3. Take responsibility for your life. The third lesson from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy is to take responsibility for your life. Dr. Glover suggests that men who exhibit the nice guy syndrome often feel like victims of their circumstances and may blame others for their problems. They may believe that they are not responsible for their own happiness or success, and instead rely on external factors to provide them with validation and a sense of purpose. Taking responsibility for your life means recognizing that you have agency and control over your own choices and actions. It means acknowledging that you have the power to create the life that you want, and that you are responsible for your own happiness and well-being. This can be a difficult lesson for men who have spent much of their lives seeking approval from others and avoiding conflict, as it requires them to step outside of their comfort zone and take ownership of their own lives. However, by taking responsibility for their lives, men can begin to cultivate a sense of self-worth and purpose. They can start making choices that align with their own values and desires, rather than solely seeking the approval of others. This can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in life, and can help men to break free from the cycle of people-pleasing and self-neglect that characterizes the nice guy syndrome. In summary, taking responsibility for your life means recognizing that you are in control of your own destiny, and that you have the power to create the life that you want. By doing so, men can begin to develop a greater sense of self-worth and purpose, and can break free from the cycle of self-neglect that characterizes the nice guy syndrome. Lesson 4. Develop your masculinity. The fourth lesson from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy is to develop your masculinity. Dr. Glover suggests that men who exhibit the nice guy syndrome often have a distorted sense of masculinity, and may have learned to associate it with negative traits such as aggression or dominance. This can lead to a rejection of traditional masculine qualities such as assertiveness, confidence, and leadership, which are seen as incompatible with being a nice guy. However, developing a healthy sense of masculinity is essential for overcoming the nice guy syndrome. This means embracing traditional masculine traits such as assertiveness, confidence, and leadership, while also developing emotional intelligence and empathy. It means learning to communicate assertively and effectively, while also being able to empathize with others and understand their perspectives. Developing your masculinity also involves taking care of your physical health and well-being. This means engaging in regular exercise, eating a healthy diet, and getting enough sleep. It means developing hobbies and interests that you enjoy, and pursuing them without apology or shame. By doing so, you can develop a sense of confidence and purpose that will help you to overcome the self-doubt and insecurity that often characterize the nice guy syndrome. In summary, developing your masculinity means embracing traditional masculine traits such as assertiveness, confidence, and leadership, while also developing emotional intelligence and empathy. It means taking care of your physical health and well-being, and pursuing your interests and hobbies without apology or shame. By doing so, men can develop a sense of confidence and purpose that will help them to overcome the self-doubt and insecurity that often characterize the nice guy syndrome. Lesson 5. Embrace your vulnerability. The fifth lesson from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy is to embrace your vulnerability. Dr. Glover suggests that men who exhibit the nice guy syndrome often have difficulty expressing their emotions and being vulnerable with others. This may stem from a fear of rejection or a belief that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. However, embracing your vulnerability is an essential component of healthy relationships and personal growth. It means being willing to share your emotions and experiences with others, and to be open to receiving support and feedback. It means acknowledging that everyone experiences pain and struggles, and that it is okay to ask for help or support when needed. Embracing your vulnerability also means taking ownership of your mistakes and shortcomings. It means being willing to acknowledge when you have made a mistake, and to take steps to rectify the situation. This can be difficult for men who have learned to avoid conflict and criticism, but it is essential for personal growth and relationship building. By embracing their vulnerability, men can develop deeper and more meaningful relationships with others. They can also develop a greater sense of self-awareness and emotional intelligence, which can help them to better navigate the challenges and difficulties of life. It can also help them to break free from the self-imposed isolation and emotional repression that often characterizes the nice guy syndrome. In summary, embracing your vulnerability means being willing to share your emotions and experiences with others, and to be open to receiving support and feedback. It means taking ownership of your mistakes and shortcomings, and being willing to acknowledge them and take steps to rectify them. By doing so, men can develop deeper and more meaningful relationships, as well as a greater sense of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Lesson 6. Develop healthy relationships. The sixth lesson from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy is to develop healthy relationships. Dr. Glover suggests that men who exhibit the nice guy syndrome often struggle with forming and maintaining healthy relationships, due to a fear of rejection or a belief that their needs and desires are not valid. Developing healthy relationships involves being able to communicate effectively and assertively, while also being able to empathize with others and understand their perspectives. It means being able to set boundaries and assert your own needs and desires, while also respecting the needs and desires of others. It means recognizing that relationships are a two-way street, and that both parties must be willing to put in effort to make them work. Developing healthy relationships also involves being able to recognize and address any codependent or unhealthy patterns that may be present. This may involve seeking therapy or counseling to work through past traumas or negative relationship patterns, or making changes to your own behavior and communication style. By developing healthy relationships, men can experience greater intimacy, connection, and fulfillment in their personal and professional lives. They can also break free from the cycle of people-pleasing and self-neglect that often characterizes the nice guy syndrome. In summary, developing healthy relationships means being able to communicate effectively and assertively, while also being able to empathize with others and understand their perspectives. It means setting boundaries and asserting your own needs and desires, while also respecting the needs and desires of others. It means recognizing and addressing any codependent or unhealthy patterns that may be present. By doing so, men can experience greater intimacy, connection, and fulfillment in their personal and professional lives. Thanks for watching. For more such videos, please subscribe.